Hi, it's Craig Metrowich from videocelebritynews.com, and today we're going to be sharing with you an exciting journey of what it takes for somebody to want to make a difference politically and economically by taking on the career of an independent political analyst. I welcome to our viewers Daniel Silke. Daniel, welcome. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Daniel, first question. Intro you. Who are you? What are you about? So my first question is, who are you?
Well, you got my name, Daniel Silke, and I am a political economy analyst, and what I do is I marry the two disciplines of analyzing the political situation with also analyzing the economics of a country. And I look specifically at South Africa, I look at African issues, and also at global issues as well. It's a unique niche, in fact, Craig, because it covers both of these two disciplines.
Well, I've never met somebody, I mean, that's it. Sorry, when I got this opportunity to interview him for videocelebritynews.com, I thought, okay, I've got celebrities, sports stars, musicians, I've got an amazing lineup. I've had the world champion for jet skiing, like, hang on, I've never heard of somebody doing this as a profession,
Well, look, you get economists who talk purely about the economy,
money side, yes.
The money side, the statistical side, and you get political analysts who talk about the politics. But you get very few who are prepared to cover both. And increasingly, Craig, there's an incredible overlap between politics and economics. One sometimes leads the other, and often the other leads the one.
Yeah, it's completely interconnected. I see that so often.
Completely, and more, not just in South Africa, but globally as well.
Well, if I look at energizing the workspace, which is something that I'm very proud of being involved with, being a business coach and an inspirational speaker, let's put it into context. Somebody comes through to work, I see them in a team environment. When I get to know them a little bit better, they'll say, hey, my partner recently got retrenched. The reality, that places now huge pressure on them, right? And then I go, but how did they get retrenched? And they go, oh, well, the metal industry collapsed, as an example. And then when you look at that, you go, but hang on, there was maybe some strike action. In other words, you can find political links around what impacts on the economy. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Well, I think
share some of those ideas.
I certainly think that in the South African context, and frankly all over the world, because there's volatility and risk everywhere, but even in the South African context, yes, the performance of any business today in South Africa really now flows back to the broader economy and to political, in a sense, interference in the normal, smooth, day-to-day processing of that economy. I think the concerns that many corporates have on so many different issues, whether it's morale, whether it's on team leading, whether it's on leadership building, on all of those different aspects, it's not just a corporate, sort of an anonymous corporate issue. It relates back to the broader society in which we live, and I suppose that's my job, is to give a view on the broader society and where we are going as a nation or as a country, or for that matter sometimes as a region as well.
I want to share with our team here, just from let's not scare everybody. My name is Craig Metrowich, my eyes are fine, but when you're vlogging, it's easier to wear the shades, so I can see the comments in the background. We did a live interview just now on facebook.com/Metrowich, Metrowich. So you can also go and watch that just to get some context as to some of the conversation leading on. I wanted to find out from Daniel, how did he get into this from a career point of view? From a business point of view, I mean, how do you, was it at college? I mean, how did you venture into this career of combining politics with economics?
Well, Craig, look, it's a good question. My whole life has been political, I suppose, because I loved politics from a very early age. And I, in fact, joined a political party's youth movement when I was in my early teens. So,
aren't you still youthful?
Yes, they barred me from the youth movement today. But certainly, I've loved the concept of news. And breaking news in particular since a very early age. I then took it forward into my studies and my extensive university studies.
And you got a master's, you're a very humble guy. I mean, you got a master's, am I right?
There are a few degrees tucked away in the back pocket which relate to political studies or science, depending on how you call it. I also then took the sort of academic base. But I took it beyond just being an academic, and I eventually ended up as a politician, as a full-time politician for about 6 years.
Okay, so on the record, I've got a batting. Generally, there's two subjects you never want to cover in an interview. Politics and religion. I'm doing one now. Because I also realized that, hang on, there's a human being behind the politics. So, Daniel to me is a nice guy. I mean, he might have a political background. Okay, that gave me hope.
Don't hold it against me.
I thought that gave me hope. I mean, if he's a nice guy and he's been involved in politics, okay, now he's on the business side of politics, then maybe we've got the wrong perception. And let's get somebody on, like yourself, that can share with us that there is some hope versus the gloom. Let's talk about that. Is there hope versus gloom in South Africa
Look, Craig,
and the rest of the world?
Craig, I mean, I was involved in politics. I served in a political party for some time. I can tell you, I met lovely people from across the political spectrum.
Yes.
And they all had an equal passion or concern for South Africa. We came to different conclusions about what solutions to find for South Africa.
Fair enough.
And I think that's the nature of competitive politics. But everybody was concerned, everybody wanted what was in their mind, the right way of doing business. So I do think sometimes politicians get a bad rap, to put it mildly. To answer your other question, I mean, of course there's hope. And I think we've all been through this before, South Africans. We've been through very, very rough periods. And I think we are in a rough period. I mean, I don't mince my words when I talk to clients. And I do show them why we're in a rough period.
So there's logic, just to come in. There is, same as in business. When I'm assessing a business and they tell me, look, there's a crisis, generally I reflect on the massive, humongous mistakes that I've made.
Yeah.
Not the theory, because if you want the theory of success, go read a couple of 100 books and you'll find a chapter. But none of these books will say, Daniel, I hope you appreciate this, none of them say, right, in the front page, if this 10 habits to be a billionaire doesn't work, we'll pay your bond at the end of the month and we'll pay your salary. None of them say that. Am I right? None of them say that.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because the reality is, it is far tougher out there to keep peace, harmony, put together cultural differences. But if the intent is there, there's hope.
Well, I think the intent is there, but there's got to also be consensus. I think you've got to get everybody speaking from the same page, in a sense. And I suppose why politics gets a negative rap in general is that it is confrontational by its own nature.
Right.
Political parties are confrontational. They're looking to score points. They're looking to be in power. And very often, therefore, the common intent for good doesn't quite get the focus that it needs. We speak past each other rather than to each other.
So in my terminology, I always say is every politician in the world could be successful on the basis of creating a peaceful environment, which, by the way, from a business point of view, is job creation. I mean, reality is, if you're going to reduce crime, and I'm not a political expert like Daniel is in any way, but what I do know is when I walk around and I speak to people, if you want to see a person demotivated, take their job away. If you want to see a person lazy, give them no hope. If you want to see a person turn to drugs and addictions and that, link it to a tragedy, yes, or some other negative milestone, but you take their job away, and I'm telling you, you're not going to bring out the best of them. Fundamentally, human beings need to work. Work is a good thing. Yes, agree, disagree, debate with me. Politically, debate.
Who could not agree with you? And in the South African case in particular, look, and here's the reality of it. We have nearly 9 million people in this country out of work. Right. Nearly 9 million out of a population of 55 million. That unemployment rate in South Africa has not come down at all over the course of the last 10, 15 years. And in fact, in the last statistics we've had in the last few weeks, in fact, we're up slightly to what is effectively a 27% unemployment rate within this country.
Okay, now that is a serious concern for all of us. That's a serious concern.
It is a serious concern, and frankly, that's what we should be doing in South Africa. For all the political differences that we have, the issue should be to have a big countdown clock in every government department, Craig, where that 9 million gets counted down.
I get it, 9, 8 million, 7, get people jobs.
Craig, you go to the United States where they have a debt clock and you see the debt mounting up in the United States. Here we should have a countdown backwards clock, just to show us the jobs that we could create in a better economic environment for us. And I think that's really at the heart of many of our ills. We get distracted by rhetoric, by economic terms, by political
news,
by fake
post-truth.
Let's just find work for South Africans. But it's got to be meaningful work as well, and it's got to tie in with a much bigger focus on broader aspects of the economy as well.
I mean, that's another thing. It's from a business point of view coming in there. I mean, the purpose of every business is profit. It's a given. Okay, if you go to the rest of it, what makes business exciting and meaningful is when you take people off the street, you empower them, give them a job, use their skills correctly, okay? There's so much potential within every human being that I see. But it takes them to, I like the word you said meaningful work.
Well, and it's also
exciting work.
Self-worth.
Self-worth
It's
and
self-worth.
expressing yourself.
Without self-worth, I'm afraid you do create a society of social ills. It's as simple as that. And I think that's really where we simply haven't kept pace in South Africa.
Okay. Daniel, you're a star. We're running out of time. I could have gone on for another 10 minutes at least. This has been a fascinating interview. My name is Craig Metrowich. This is Daniel Silke. From all of us, my closing message is share the love. Thank you very much.